Hey Buns, so yes, I went to the media tour in LA and I can finally tell you that. I have been wanting to tell you this story for several weeks and I can finally tell you the whole story. Let's go! Let's start with the airport. I went to New Orleans airport and I tweeted about how when I was going through airport security, I got flagged. TSA lady had to wand me down. She's like, why are you going off like this? And I'm like, oh, well, it's because I have a bra that zips up at the front. And she's like, no, why are you coming to the airport wearing something like that? You know better too. You look like you travel. And I'm like, oh. I'm like, there's no way I look like I travel. So I walk off, I sit down, and I look down at my shirt, and I see I have a Roswell t-shirt on. It's got like aliens in the car. And then I'm like, okay, actually, good point. Okay, I do look like I travel, and I do travel, and I did know better. Then I think I almost missed my flight because I was dicking around in the various gift shops because I heard that it was Zeem's birthday. I got Zeem's some alligator socks and I also got him some New Orleans praline. And the other thing, I was almost late to my flight because I was really thinking that I needed these sunglasses. It says feeling festy on it and there's like Louisiana on it and I just thought it was cute. I did not end up getting it because they were $35. I think that I got into LA pretty late and because of that I couldn't really meet up with anybody for dinner that first night. Oh no, wait, that's not right.
Why the fuck you lying?
Okay, I remember what happened. Actually what happened was my priority on arriving in LA was getting my nails done, getting my pedicure. I posted a picture of my pedicure on Twitter. Let me find it. Can you show a foot pic on Twitch? No, you can't. I just wanted to show the cute design because I got bunnies painted on my toenails that I thought was very cute. Anyway, so I went to the nail salon and my feet were, how can I put this? Very injured. I tend to be pretty rough when I'm running around and doing things. I'm not a delicate person, bumping into crap all the time, constantly injuring myself. And the lady's like, oh, why your feet? For some reason, I panicked and I'm like, sports.
What?
She's like, sports? I'm like, yeah, sports. Kicking and running. And she's like, okay. But anyway, so I posted a foot pic on Twitter and then I have received some DMs. Someone was like, you have really nice feet. Thanks for posting them. Kind of a compliment. It's not the worst thing that I've seen in my Twitter DMs by a long shot. Oh, this is the other thing about being cold in LA, because I thought that it was going to be hot in LA. And how do I even go about telling you this? Okay, something about me is that I need to use clinical deodorant because for some reason if I get stressed or if I get excited, my body is like a skunk and like just starts releasing the stinkiest smells you have ever smelled in your whole life, and it's like very pungent.
Diagnosis? Puberty.
And I actually forgot my deodorant at home. And this is something that I discovered when I was on the plane to LA. So I had on this hoodie. It's my cute bunny hoodie. And unfortunately, because of my situation with my BO on the plane, this became unusable. Oh, sorry to the guy who was sitting next to me.
That mother back there is not real.
So I land in LA and I'm thinking, okay, the first thing I need to do is pedicure, and then the next thing I need to do is urgently find deodorant. I don't want to go to the media tour and everyone's gonna think I'm stinky. There was a market right next to the hotel. It was a Japanese market. So I took some pictures of this and I want to show you because it was super, super cool. This stuff is like the cake of the gods. This matcha spongy cake. Holy crap. I went hard on these things. I thought it was really cute. They had all these socks. I bought the pink ones, the blue ones. And by the way, I went to this shop to get deodorant, don't forget. Okay, that's the reason I'm there. And so far we've bought 3 different kinds of bunny socks and we've bought matcha cakes. I got these pens to help me take notes while I was at the tour. And I also got this notepad to help me remember what has happened at the tour. I'm sitting there at the tour like, finally, I only found one kind of deodorant that they sold, and it's this right here. It's for men. It's for sports.
What?
And it's for men. This is probably gonna work. My options are, okay, I'm either gonna stink or I'm gonna smell like a man. By the time I'm done with all of that, everything is closing. It's like 11 or 12 at night. It's LA, downtown, and I'm thinking I should walk by myself down the street to find food. This was one of the most terrifying 5 minutes of my life, but I was very, very hungry, and I knew that there was a ramen shop like just a little bit farther away. All my instincts and alarm bells are telling me to go back. I'll just walk faster. Nothing's gonna happen to me this one time. Like, I'm overreacting.
Time wasted time.
But I got to the ramen shop. I was sitting like right in front of a slightly open door, and the door had a cool wind blowing in, and then they put down this piping hot bowl of amazing ramen, homemade noodles. It smelled so good. It was absolutely worth feeling like I was about to be murdered. So the next morning, it's time to go. It's the big day, and I'm so proud of myself because I'm like ready to go downstairs. I'm way ahead of time. I sit down for like 2 seconds, and then I remember, oh my God, I forgot my phone. And then I go back upstairs, and then I got distracted. I'm upstairs. It's almost time for the bus to arrive, and I get a text from Arthur, and he's like, yo, where are you? The bus is leaving. I'm like, well, I always gotta be like this.
Why are you the way that you are?
Arthur, he knows. He knew, and by the way, the bus wasn't leaving, but he knew what he needed to write me to make sure that I made it downstairs before the bus actually got there. And at this point, I am spinning. I'll tell you why. Because at the Japanese market the night before, there's another thing that I bought. Coffee. I was bouncing off the walls when I met her.
Oh my God, it's so exciting to see everyone. Oh my God, it's so good to see everyone. I was excited for Dawntrail Day. Hey, Zee, it's your birthday? I got you a present for your birthday. I hope you're excited to get it. Hey, Arthur.
And so then get on the bus, we get there, we look out the bus, and someone who's familiar with LA is like, oh, this is Skid Row. Wait, is this our stop? We did stop at Skid Row. And yes, that was our stop. We went in, and let me tell you, it was absolutely gorgeous venue that they had set up for the event. They also had these specialty drinks. The green one was Viper. The orange one was Dawntrail. That one was Picto. The Dawntrail ones were so freaking good and sugary, and I went hard on these. And you know who else went hard on these? Zeems. We were chugging these things. Then Yoshi P appeared. A bunch of people were asking him questions, and he was taking his time with people. I did not think that I would get an opportunity to talk to Yoshi P, so I didn't prepare any questions. And with Yoshi P right there in front of me, I just kind of started to freak out. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, he's answering everybody's questions. I need to come up with a question right now, but I'm freaking out. Look at Yoshi P's face. He's so entertained by this. He was laughing his ass off when I was there because he's just like, are you serious? Can you not be normal for like the 5 seconds for us to take a picture? Okay, now here's where my notes come into play. So then I went to the computer and started getting into the build. So my plan was Roth Girl emotes, job armors, and looking at the 2 dye channels. I wrote, Yoshi P is walking around watching everyone take notes on jobs, and I am in G-pose, LOL. That is true. I did spend a lot of time in G-pose. Yeah, Yoshi P was walking around like a teacher. It was so crazy. Everybody's sitting there like at their computers doing work, and Yoshi P's just like making sure everybody... This is one of the most surreal memories, I think, of my life. Then later on, they gave us chips and dip. Cheese dip was like kind of, this isn't a life-changing cheese dip.
Cheese.
Someone walks up next to me and they eat some cheese dip and they say, this cheese dip is not good. And I say, And then Zeems walks up and Zeems eats some cheese dip. And he's like, oh yeah, this cheese dip's great. Then later in the day, there was the Q&A. Now let me tell you about the Q&A. I will never, ever, ever forget it. Maybe some of, I don't know, maybe some people have already heard about what happened. So the first question that someone had asked, it was about the improved rewards that they had promised for Dawntrail. They were like, well, what kind of rewards are you even talking about? They said that it could be minions, mounts, gear, and the gear could be maybe not max item level, but mid-ranges is what Yoshi said. Wait for 7.1 for more information about that. But in general, they're going to increase the number of gear, the amount of gear that drops. And so everybody seems satisfied with that. One thing I will say about this Q&A is that it felt like all hard questions. Sometimes we have Q&As where it feel like they just pick out the easy ones, but this time maybe it's because all the people submitting questions are content creators and people who are really invested, that Yoshi P answered a lot of difficult questions only. It was hardball after hardball. Another question asked was about how everybody travels to Ether for the party finder. And they asked about region PM. And they had also asked, can we have an updated friends list? Like Steam friends or Battle.net friends like Blizzard has. And Yoshi P said that obviously it would be good to have the improved friends list, but that it would take 2 to 3 years of work for that to happen. And so he said, you know, maybe a more innovative solution we can look into for improving this problem. Because he said, yeah, we are well aware that everybody is traveling to Ether to do their party finder. We can see this problem and they want to fix it. They need to come up with a creative solution. He did say that they had to focus on blacklist improvements first, which they did for Dawntrail, and that's totally valid. So my question was that actually got answered was, can we get more skills available for low-level players as has been done in the past? A lot of times low-level jobs can feel boring, like there isn't enough buttons to press and not enough to do. And I had also wrote on my question when I submitted it, also can you fix the MOG station? But unfortunately that part of my question got cut before Yoshi P would answer. Yoshi P said that they did check the distribution of skills. He said, I don't know if we've done enough at low levels, though. He said that we are actively listening to feedback on this. So if you feel like there's a job that is kind of sucks at low levels, then you should share that feedback with them on the forums, or I guess I'll make a video about that. He said they do worry about bloated buttons, though. And he said, well, if you learn a lot at a lower level, what will you learn at higher level? Then what's the purpose of leveling? I agree on that sentiment, and I see that that's something that they need to work around as developers. But I do think that everybody should have access to a couple of basic things at low level. I think everybody should have like an AoE, an OGCD maybe. We don't need to have you learn the entire rotation at low level, just some basic stuff that everyone should have. Oh, here's the next question. This question was crazy. So somebody asked, what quests should we do before Dawntrail to get ready for Dawntrail lore? Yoshi P said some crazy stuff. He said new alliance raid, Myths of the Realm. And here's the other thing he said that I did not see coming. Can you name all the 14 seeds of the convocation? Next question. I think he was just talking about the story overall and like what they want to do with the story when they're writing it. And he said, sometimes there's sad news in the real world and we want to focus on relationships between people. Your motivation to play might be different from others, like people coming to a mutual understanding. And if people see that, then it's going to brighten our future as well. I really appreciated that. That is what FF14 usually does. It shows like a peek into a better world. Someone had asked the question about how there are going to be 6 melee DPS, and we have striking, scouting, and maiming melee DPS. And the question was about how some use skill speed materia, and then there's slaying and aiming right side accessories, and it's becoming kind of a mess. It's like a lot in your inventory, and the person had asked about consolidating materia or melee gear sets. Now, this got Yoshi P off on this crazy tangent that ended up being very, very interesting. This is the part that made this Q&A very memorable for me, something I'll never forget in my life, for as long as I live. So Yoshi P says, players complain about unique elements all the time. Things can get homogenized, and sometimes our solutions to that are too extreme. We want to shift into robust gameplay. We want there to be new and fresh mechanics. And then Yoshi P says, Zeems, Xenos, and Arthar's over there. And he says their names. Zeems and Arthar's have been saying, a lot of the content is similar, and I'm sitting here and I see Seams and Arthur's to my left, and they are both pogging because Senpai noticed. So they're both like, oh. But then Yoshi's like, there's been player feedback. We want to accommodate, but we don't want to go too far. So we would love to bring uniqueness to individual jobs, but not at the same time as adjusting battle content, because it's going to be so overwhelming to players. He said their focus is on the satisfaction of the battle content. And I'll tell you that I talked to Zeems and Arthur's later, and Arthur's was like, we didn't even care like about our question at that point. So he said, so bringing it back to this question about materia, if we simplify materia, we have to ask ourselves as devs, is it going to contribute to that fulfilling gaming experience or not? We have to be careful of the choices we make. And I respect that so much. So then the next question, actually, this is the part that made it memorable for me personally. Maybe now you can kind of guess what's about to happen. So someone asked the question, how is the game gonna be less single player in Dawntrail? Like, how will you start to encourage collaborative play? And Yoshi P literally says, oh, Zepla said this, right? And I'm actually sitting about 4 feet in front of Yoshi P. Like, I am literally right in front of him, and he's looking directly into my face. I felt like I was about to collapse into a neutron star when I heard him say Zepla, because obviously I don't speak Japanese, but I definitely understood Zepla. He's like, oh yeah, Zepla said this, right? And everybody's looking. Didn't Zepla say that Endwalker is the worst expansion I have played? And he said that part in English. He literally said it, and he starts laughing, and then I start laughing, dude. I am laughing my ass off. I have tears in my eyes. Yoshi P is laughing. Everybody's laughing. Everyone's looking at me and pointing at me and laughing, dude. And I'm like, oh no, this isn't real. This isn't real.
Nightmare.
It was kind of a nice moment, you know. But he did say, I think that we should, you know, when we're talking about these things, try to use some kinder language. And I'm like, yes. Kind of oddly wholesome moment between me and Yoshi P. And he said, why do you think is the reason why people don't want to play in our MMORPG? And someone's like, because they don't want to play with other people. He's like, exactly, because they don't want to play with other people. So we wanted to create a foundation to help people join the game if they're hesitant to play an MMO. So that's why it might have felt like you had to wait for what we want to do in Dawntrail. But we had to build the player base, okay? And now that we did that, we are ready with Dawntrail to focus on the MMO part of the RPG, and everybody is just like, it was like, even though we were indoors, it was like the skies parted and the sun rays start shining in here, and I have tears in my eyes from laughter. I'm telling you, dude. Oh, and then Yoshi P says he wasn't done with me yet. I think he also did this because, remember earlier I met him and he knows how easily flustered I got. So I feel like he thought this was very entertaining to put me on the spot like that. So then he's like, we were approaching our next stage of the game, and you know, Zepla here, he's like, I'm glad Zepla has shared these things with us, because if Zepla feels that way, then I'm sure that there are a lot of other players that feel similarly to her. He actually said Zepla-san's comments. That's what he said. That was really, really special for me, because I went through a lot. I had a couple of really rough years, and I'm sure that Yoshi P is well aware of that. It just, I felt like we had been heard, that we'd been listened to, and that if there's anything at all that we wanted to ask him or bring up, he would answer it. He would be there for us, because earlier, whenever he was doing the meet and greet and taking pictures with people, I watched, and he stood there and he waited for everybody to be done asking him anything that they wanted to ask. And he did not go away until he made sure that there was nobody else that had anything that they wanted to say. Oh, I wrote this down. It says, it makes us more happy. We chose this. We did the right thing listening to Zepla. I see that at this point in my notes, it's much more difficult to read my handwriting. You just blame the sugar. Yeah, it was from all those Dawntrail mocktails. Oh, okay. So this was actually an interesting thing that he answered. He was talking about the eye level sync system. Someone asked about higher level gear is not always the best in slot when your item level synced down because the calculations are convoluted. And Yoshi P said that the eye level sync system was created in FF11 by one guy, and we got him to make it for 14.2. He was the first battle director, and he programmed it directly. And that guy is still a Giga Chad on the team, so he's the one that Yoshi P will discuss the system with. Question was, is Dawntrail a new saga? Oh, this was also interesting. Yoshi P said, we will probably sprinkle in foreshadowing. I want to see how players react to the Dawntrail finale and then gauge where to go from there. He said, I wish I could replicate Emmett's self and the way he speaks, but we will see what the future holds. Then we'll see what cards to play, which makes complete sense. They're gonna see how people like the 7.0 finale, and if people love it, they'll continue, but if people hate it, then they have some other options, basically. And Yoshi P said the next expansion, he hinted at the next expansion. He said, well, Dawntrail is summer, in summer vacation vibes, right? So maybe the next expansion after that could be ice. And this goes along with my personal theory about we're in the new Samsara, because it's like the next expansion will be the second expansion in the new Samsara. So it'll be like the Heaven's Word of the new Samsara. You know what I mean? After the Q&A, I'm still reeling from what has just transpired. And so is Zeems and Arthars, because they were also called out specifically. And we're all looking at each other. I turn around and I look behind me and I hear Jesse Cox say, well, 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 look who got scolded by the teacher. And everyone's like, Zepla got scolded by the teacher. It was wholesome in the end. I'm glad that we all got to laugh about it together and move on as a family, okay? As a Bun fam. I'm never gonna live that down for as long as I live. Another thing Yoshi P said that I just remembered. He said the devs watch streams regardless of language. So be aware of that. So this is the bag that they gave me. It's a very nice bag. And the bag has inside of it something that I really needed, a hoodie. Because I mentioned that I had been freezing cold this entire time. And they say, oh, there's a hoodie in the bag. And I say, oh, amazing. I've been so cold this whole time. I can finally have a hoodie. And they're like, oh, no, you can't wear it. They say, yeah, because the embargo. We don't make the rules. And I'm like, but I'm so cold. Like, I could tell they felt bad because obviously they don't make the rules. And I'm like, I'll just put it inside out so you can't see the logo. And they're like, no. No, you can't. So I ended up walking around holding a hoodie and continuing to freeze my buns off. The other thing in the bag, Dawntrail poster that has Erinville on it, which makes it the best Final Fantasy poster so far. Dawntrail book, a notebook. Oh yeah, this. The USB stick. And the other thing is this. Journey westward towards Tyrol, it says. After the event, we went to a Korean barbecue place. So here it is. They were put fire on it. And there's Jesse. He's like, oh my God. Let me tell you what else. That was my first time meeting Mr. Happy in person. And y'all, Mr. Happy is jacked. And I was like, oh my God, Mr. Happy, you look great. You've got all these muscles. And then I'm like, oh my God, I'm not trying to flirt with you. He's like, I know. Because everybody was complimenting Mr. Happy on how amazing he looks. He honestly, real life Giga Chad. Here's everybody at the table, y'all. It was so great. It was just one of these times where everybody gets along, everybody's excited about the game. We just had this incredible media tour experience, and a lot of us are finally getting to meet and hang out in real life. There's Jesse, Quasi, this is actually June Bob, Mr. Happy, Frosty, Arthar, Seams, Cider, Crystal, whoops, me and Llama Todd, all hanging out and just having the best time. It was really tragic how little time we actually had to hang out. After that, we go to the taxi, and the people in the taxi that I'm in it's me, Crystal, Cider, and Frosty. It was probably one of the most memorable Uber rides I have ever been in my life. We get in the Uber and we're all trying to go back to the hotel so we can hang out a little bit more. And the Uber driver is like, hey y'all, you know, I haven't had that good of a day. You know what? I think this might be my last Uber ride. He says it like that. And we all look at each other like, oh shit, this is about to be our last Uber ride as well. The guy's just like, yeah, you know, these people getting in my car, they're so stupid and they're so rude. And I'm like, tell me about it. Tell me about it, sweetie. I'm gonna try to fix the situation. I'm gonna help him out. Then he's like, well, I had these guys vomit on my seats recently. And I'm sitting next to Crystal in the back seat. We both look at each other like we're sitting on vomit seats. Then he's talking about a woman that pissed on her seats. He said, that woman pissed on my seats. And again, me and Crystal are like, we're sitting on the piss and vomit seat. And the guy says, and after she did that, can you believe she gave me a 1-star rating? And it's awkward. And Frosty's in the front seat. And Frosty says, wow, sounds like a piss poor rider. And it's complete silence. And then finally, after what feels like forever, the driver finally says, he looks at Frosty and says, thank you for that. He said that he wants to stop being an Uber driver and start writing comedy. And I was really trying to encourage him to go down that path instead of terrifying people as soon as they get in the car. By that point, we get out at the hotel. I walk into the hotel lobby, and who do I see standing in the lobby but Sly, aka Gray Fox. I see Sly, and now Sly is someone that I have considered to be a good friend for years, but I've never got a chance to meet Sly in person. I run up to Sly, and it's like, Sly actually picked me up. I mean, I'm a small person, but Sly's like, zap. Picks me up, and I'm in the air for I don't know how long. After that, we all went to Sly's hotel because he had some bourbon in his room, and we all sipped on bourbon and chatted for as long as we could. But this was the point when we all started to feel really sad because it's like 11:30. We know that the next group of people has to get up early to go to their media tour day the next day, and we know that we're not going to be able to hang out for very much longer. To spend as much time as I could, we had some laughs. And before you know it, it was over. It was really hard to say goodbye to everybody. It was a wonderful time. I got to meet a bunch of people that I've admired. I got to reinforce friendships that had been online, and now they're real life friendships too. And I just can't wait for the next time we can all hang out together. I wish we'd gotten a little bit more time together. I think that we absolutely made the most of the time that we had. So that's what matters. But overall, it was really positive, and it was positive for lots of different reasons, like for meeting people that are friends, feeling positive about the game, talking to Yoshi P, having Yoshi P literally directly speak to me. I'm glad we got to laugh about that together and feel like we're all in this together. We all love this game so much, and we all care about the game being good and fun and being engaging. We're all on the same page about this. It was awesome.